Hello and welcome to our presentation on groups and teams at work, the mainstream approach.
Hi, I am Mildred, and a team means that a small number of people with complementary skills gather together and they need to achieve a mutual goal and they are mutually accountable. For example, you are working with your colleagues for a project, you guys are aiming for a high marks and you guys are accountable for the project and you are using your complementary skills to help each other. And however, a team is not meaning like a group. A group is more likely to emphasize people's psychological demands. A real team does not only include discrete units of performance, but also positive organizational values such as sharing, collaborating, or listening to others. And there are still some principles and concepts of how to contribute to the organizational success. There are group process, group thing, social loafing, and team discipline. And the most important are group process and team discipline. Firstly, and the group process is for us to understand what our group is going on. And there are 5 points. There are communication, decision making, power and influence, conflict, and ethos. And these 5 points actually can let you know who is active in the group, how a decision made, and how you solve the conflicts in the group, etc. Team discipline is for us to reach high performance, and there are 5 points such as the adequate level of complementary skills. The workers inside should have mutual accountability and specific goals and meaningful purpose, etc. And for example, from the chapter case study, the AML case, there are Laura, Teresa, John, and Amber, and they have applied to this team discipline and they have complementary skills to help each other, such as they have different positions. Laura is the junior content designer, John is the technical developer, etc. But however, the effect of working approach, Amber, the boss, just only points out they do very complicated but no specific methods to help them. And the third, they bear the accountability together, such as John at last helps Laura because she knows Laura does not handle everything eventually. And the fourth one, they have positive communication. So I think we need to apply the team discipline to every organization in order to reach the high performance.
There are three organizational dimensions in the mainstream approach about teams. Those are flexibility, motivation, and learning. Flexibility is the organizational ability to change. The faster an organization can change, the better it can perform in a competitive environment. To understand that better, let's look at the difference between traditional mass production and lean production. The first one has strict division of labor and allocation of roles. The process is broken down into small operations and their individuals perform a narrow range of tasks. While in lean production, the work is organized around teams. It aims to avoid slack and redundancies, and the process is fast and efficient and has few errors. The NUMI case study shows firsthand how a company benefits from lean production and the way teams can enhance flexibility. Its essence is in the fact that the workers have autonomy and are responsible for constantly improving. The second organizational dimension is motivation. Motivation is the willingness to exert oneself. The higher the motivation, the better the productivity. The empowerment or motivation of teams leads to workers becoming more active participants, them committing and owning their work, and of course leads to boost morale and productivity. All of this is based on the thought that organizations are social systems, and groups are a source of norms of conduct, and autonomy enhances quality and quantity of output.
And now let's talk about some classical studies about groups and teams at work. So from the article, Elton Mayo did a research, and from his research, we can see that there are some factors that help increase the productivity unexpectedly. For example, manipulating the lighting level on the shop floor, asking some volunteers to work in a room separated from the rest of the colleagues, or even manipulating some variables like pauses, working time, and lunch break. All these factors can help increase the productivity regardless of the modifications. And this tells us that not the working conditions but the actual social condition brings changes in productivity. And we can call this the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect refers to a type of reactivity in which individuals modify an aspect of their behavior in response to the awareness of being observed. Working together allows colleagues to share the experience and communicate with each other more, and so a wider unit can be created. Working as a group is never easy, and so communication is essential. Nowadays, there are many asserting that knowledge is a source of competitive advantage, and more people are starting to work as a group instead of an individual. And there are areas and issues that should be considered for facilitating team learning, for example, discussion and dialogue. Discussion enables members to dissect a topic or a problem from various points of view, and people should also learn how to deal with conflict and defensive routines. By doing so, we can better defend ourselves from the embarrassment and threat that comes with exposing our thinking, and also practice team learning. It means creating space and time to practice discussion and dialogue and develop skills in dealing with defensiveness. And working as a team bring benefits to both the organization and employees. Organization can reduce employee turnover as well as increase productivity and worker commitment, while employees benefit from an increased quality of work life, resulting in higher job satisfaction and had an increased enjoyment of work.
Now, let's move on to the key problems and questions. There are mainly three questions to be asked. They are: how do teams develop? How should teams be designed? And how do you make teams work? First, how do teams develop? Mainly, there are three stages led to the question. Forming is a stage that people start to know each other as well as a task to be accomplished. Norming, people assess their behavior according to the new standards established. Performing, team members as a team concretely engage with the tasks and events required for the accomplishment. However, some scholars suggest that teams do not follow on specific stages, rather they proceed in the accomplishment of the task by punctuated equilibrium. Second, how should team be designed? There are two main aspects. Team human capital refers to the resources individual members contribute to the team. Example: knowledge, time, and attitude. And team social capital, which refers to the quality and quantity of social relation inside the team, but also between the team and the broader organization and social field. The success of this model can be explained by applying instruments to test and score people. It is possible to design the best team in the given circumstances. Lastly, how do you make teams work? Some of the factors involving in generating resistance that have been studied are perception of fairness and trust. Fair is very important in avoiding and engendering resistance to teamwork, such as the pay, the distribution of workload, and criteria of decision. Second, the attitude towards changes. With low tolerance towards change is negatively associated with introduction of self-managing teams, such as the fear of not being able to develop the skills required. Lastly, culture values. Collectivism may facilitate self-managing teams. Individuals embedded in collective culture are understood to be less likely to resist teamwork than those steeped in the individualist culture.
For the contribution of mainstream, there has one principal contribution, which is it basically offers a solution for everything, like by illustrating the reason why and how teams work, how to become a more successful team members, and how to work more productively. Moreover, it also assists with reducing the anxiety, especially for the managers when facing some uncertainty. Another point is that by limited and unsure studies, we can construct the basis for models that institute the conceptual variance, as well as forecast the behaviors and outcome based on the models. For instance, like constructing individuals who contain cultural values which are not helpful to team administration. Limitation of mainstream. It is difficult or even can be said is a mission impossible to find the appropriate models. By appropriate, it means in-depth and broadly predictive. Besides, mainstream only have a little consideration in the distinction of industry, as well as the matter of a small business and also reserve on cost issue. Mainstream approach upholds and reappoint the social and material resource that the manager can enjoy in a contemporary capitalist societies. In addition, it validates the position of authority for managers as well as stakeholder itself.
And in the end, we come to the critical approach question for the other team. If your group decided that the critical approach is the way for teams at work, explain what leadership contributes when you don't work as a team. And that was all. Thank you for watching.